Hello, everyone. I believe we're live. There's my little live indicator. It's Leslie Hassler with your Biz Rules, coaching from the carpool. Here most times at 2:30-ish, Monday through Friday, as I sit in my carpool. And I'll pan. See, there's the school. I'm in the carpool. I'm actually in the parked section, not the driving section, just in case you're wanting to know. But I'm happy you're here today. This week we have been talking about all the plans that business owners put to work in their business to really get the growth. And a lot of them we talked about. Monday we talked about the Prince Charming plan. No Prince Charmings in business. Tuesday we talked about the Hope and Prayer plan. Yes, you need to have passion. You need to have that positive outlook. You need to believe in the possibility, but you also got to do something about it. Yesterday, we talked about the hustle and grind. And I love that because hustle and grind is kind of that dichotomous opposite, right? If hope and a prayer was a wistful one, then hustle and grind is the forceful one, the forceful reaction to it. And I kind of shared my own story about hustle and grind with you. And today, it's probably one of the most insidious ones. I will say, hey, Heather, how's it going? Heather, all the way in England. I think you're still over the seas. We're talking about the plans that entrepreneurs actually put together in their business and rely on success for. And fall short of. Well, always fall short of if you rely on any of these plans we've talked about this week. So today is the wait and see plan. Ching! And I want you to do me a favor. So I was going to stand outside and do this little exercise with you on my hood of my car. But I was caught up in the momentum of writing my book today. And so didn't get to working out until late, didn't get to showering until late, and it's humid. I don't want to stand outside. I'll sweat like a pig. Not happening today. I just took a shower. So you're going to help me do this exercise. So I want you to grab a coin, any coin. I did a quarter, right? Any coin will do. And grab it because this is going to illustrate today about the hope or the wait and see plan, which is what we're talking about. How wait and see really manifests itself is typically when I see a business owner confronted with needing to make a decision. That really is I will say probably is a decisive decision. It would drive them down a road one way or the other. The wait and see plan gets activated when there's absolute confusion and there's no good way. There's no surety about which decision's the right decision. And in my book, I'm writing about a lot of different tools that I've developed for myself and I use with my clients that help make that decision-making process a little bit easier. But it's not 100%. There are no guarantees in business. We don't have crystal balls or magic wands. And so there are times that you're making the decision. There are decisions I've made and I've said, I don't know what the right decision is here. But the one thing is I haven't chosen the wait and see plan. And part of that is when you wait and see, you're not actually seeing anything but more of what it is that you have. It's kind of like a definition of insanity. We talked about that earlier, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But there's something you need to know about this plan. So grab your coin, and I know you can all do this. And if you were to just put it down and spin it, right, to make it spin, okay, get some centrifugal force going, and you were watching it, I don't know if you're watching it, mine just dropped. But if you watched it and you had a big enough area that it could spin, what would happen to the coin? It would eventually stop, right? So here's what this wait and see plan does. There are two spirals that you can have in your business, okay? You can spiral up. And that's a great place to be. It tends to be a place of growth, a position of growth, a position of innovation and change and great clients doing great work, charging what you're worth, that whole upward spiral, working with great people, great employees, blah, 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 upward spiral. Then there's a downward spiral, all right? And downward spiral breeds resentment, frustration, lack of money, clients where you're not satisfied with the work that you're producing because of who your client is. And honestly, they're not satisfied with the result that you're providing because you're not satisfied with them. And it's just this kind of, okay, so you can see it going down. Now imagine that either one of those spirals is that quarter or your dime, whatever you had, the coin that you spun, okay? That means the motion that you're in when you wait and see will be the continuing motion that happens. What is that? There's a physics law. I hated physics, but there's physics law. What objects in motion tend to stay in motion, except when they stop, right? There's usually not enough energy to keep them going. And so they eventually slow down and stop. Now, if you're on that upward spiral, things are probably still going to look pretty good for a while. And then it's going to kind of and stop. If you're on the downward spiral, your stop is a lot more deadly. Okay, it means you might be closing your business and finding a job. It happens. Sometimes it should happen. It's always painful. Having gone through it myself in some ways, having helped others people do it, even to the betterment of their lives, it still kind of sucks. So if you're on that downward spiral, okay, you're eventually going to get to a place of bottom. If you're on the upward spiral, you're going to get to a place of stop. And then you'll start reversing and going down. Wait and see creates that situation, right? It creates the lack of motion. When I open up chapter 4 in my book, I open up and I'm like, great growth, she be a fickle mistress. And she is very fickle. And she is a she. I'm going to say she is a she. A lot of times growth has to be coaxed. Growth has to be seduced. Growth has to be cajoled into going in the direction that we want to. And that's the hardest thing about growth is it's not like, hey, business, go grow. That's not how it happens, right? There's effort that has to be put towards things. Now, I'm not about working harder or making it harder than it needs to be, but there is effort that has to go into a business, and chances are it's more effort than you ever thought. And that's okay if you're starting out and you're like, oh crap, what did I get myself into? That's okay if you realize it and you're good with it. But any established entrepreneur that's been around the block for a while will tell you it takes more effort than they ever thought it could. So you have to keep the motion in play. Now, this is the difference for me when we're looking at growing two different kinds of businesses, and I want to separate them a little bit because I work with a lot of startups, but I also work with a lot of established businesses, and their concerns are completely different. The hardest thing for a startup business to get is momentum. Right? It takes a while. You're building blocks and you're kind of building the plane as you fly it and you're trying to take off, and there's a lot of energy that goes into building the momentum. And the momentum starts off slow. It doesn't start off fast, right? Because we're putting so much effort into this. Now, an established business, if you've been good, relatively good, average, okay, at attracting clients, average at doing good work, average at, getting your clients to come back, you already have energy, right? You already have momentum. So for a growth business that's in an established area, it is so much easier to see growth faster than it is for a growth business in the startup area. It just takes a little bit longer. Growth looks completely different. 500% growth for a startup is nothing, right? Especially if you're starting with $10,000. 50% growth for an established business can be huge. That's when it's about what's happening down to the bottom line. So know that it is easier in some ways for an established business to see results faster than a startup. It does take effort. That's why the wait and see plan can't work. I would rather see you make a poor choice and learn from it than I would rather see you wait and see. That's just the straight up truth of it. And well, there's always exceptions. I try not to be too empirical when I speak because anything's possible. What I will see is if it makes good business sense to wait and see, and you're waiting and seeing because you don't have enough information in order to make an educated decision, and you know that you just need, I need 4 more weeks. 4 more weeks. I have an expectation of a result. If that doesn't happen, I know then what I need to do. Or 4 more weeks, the results should come in. 4 more weeks, we'll be finished with something. Like, I guess for me, the wait and see, I will give you a give on wait and see as long as you've got some parameters around it. You know how long you're going to wait and see. 6 months? I'm going to say no, not so much. Make a decision, try, fail, pick yourself back up, take the key learning and move on. But if you're really looking at a situation where you need to let some things play out so that you're making the best decision, that I think is a much more educated versus the I don't know which decision to make and I'm going to wait and see. I see Lynn has come on here. So Lynn's howdy, one of my clients, and we were talking about something today, and my answer was immediate, right, Lynn? It was no, not right now. Here's why. Ya da 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 da. Okay. Sometimes I don't give that great of an answer. I say, we're testing a few things right now. Now's not the time to make that decision because we need to see if this message works. We need to see if our theory works. We need to get some results, and that will tell us whether or not to make this choice. Hardly anything, guys, honestly, in business requires you to be on ER status. Maybe if you work in an ER, but hardly anything else requires for you to make such crazy decisions all the time under a snap pressure. And usually if there's that much pressure, it's not because it's a great opportunity. It's because somebody else wants you to buy now while you're in that moment. And so we just have to be able to make quick decisions and not put things off too long and not get distracted by ideas that might be great but aren't great right now. But at the end of the day, don't wait and see. Please don't wait and see. Just do something, okay? Test and measure. The chapter I wrote today, I don't know if you've heard, guys, I'm writing a book. Finished chapter 5 today, which is why my hair is still wet. And it was good. It was all about, I gotta say, any chapter that opens up with a Pinky and the Brain reference is a good chapter. But it was all about being a mad scientist in your business and having this kind of joyful, playful, experimenting mindset when it comes to figuring out your own secret sauce. Everyone has a different secret sauce. It varies from me as a coach to another person as a coach. It varies from photographer to photographer. The hardest part is finding what your secret sauce is. And that's really what we're trying to do. But if you don't do anything, if all you ever do is wait and see, you'll never get there. It doesn't magically happen. Nobody comes in carrying the golden envelope with your award results. That's just not the way I've seen business work. I feel like I can be emphatic with that. So that is today, guys. If you want to be a part of my launch community behind my book, that's what it is, right? It's a community of people that want the sneak peeks of the book, want to be able to read the chapters and give me feedback. Make sure I'm keeping it real. Make sure I'm saying what needs to be said. I'm really big on that, saying what needs to be said. And at the end of the day, that I'm adding value. I am not writing a puff piece with this book. I am not out to be a bestseller. I am writing this because I have something to say that I think needs to be heard. And I'm committed to having people around me that want to support me in that. So if you want to be part of that launch community and see some of the behind the scenes and have a little fun with me along the way, just type My Biz Rules in the comments below and I'll be putting you into that community, which starts next week. Yay. So that's it for today. 15 minutes on why you should not wait and see. Just stop it. Just stop it. Come back for tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about what kind of a plan you should have. Really, it's probably not what you want to hear, but it's what needs to be said. So I will be doing that tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 2:30-ish, coaching from the carpool. And this has been Leslie Hassler with your Biz Rules Business Coaching. Talk to you soon, guys.